of the African savannah on safari, looking for... Mike, is that a lion stalking us? I think it's something much scarier. It's a search term report, and someone has keywords with 150% ACOS. Oh no, they never added any negative keywords. And it looks like all their bids are just $3. No bid optimization? We're in trouble. We need to do something about this giant ACOS, but I don't know if we can do it alone. Oh no, it's the ad badger. Should we run? No, the ad badger can save us. He'll rip that high ACOS to shreds with bid optimization and negative keywords. What's going on, Badger Nation? It's Mike and Brett from Ad Badger, and you're listening to the PPC Den Podcast, the world's first Amazon PPC advertising podcast, and your source for all of the tips, tricks, and optimization strategies you need to get the most from your Amazon ads.
What's going on, everyone? As some of you know from us talking about it in previous episodes, Mike is currently part of a business accelerator to make the Badger the best software around. So this week he's in California with that accelerator, so this episode will just be me. That's okay though, because I want to talk about a topic today that's a really important one that a lot of Amazon marketers get confused with, and that is launch strategy. So in this episode, we're going to discuss my favorite PPC launch strategy. We'll talk about the pros and cons there, and then we'll try to establish some guidelines so you're not feeling lost next time you're ready to introduce a new product. So let's just dive right into things. Now, before actually talking about the strategy I like to use, I'd like to give some additional context here. This is going to be strictly a PPC launch strategy. There are lots of other strategies many Amazon marketers implement when launching a new product, but not all of them are applicable. Not all of them are ideal, and not all of them are within Amazon's terms of service, which definitely presents a bit of an issue. So for the purpose of this episode, let's just assume that we're not running any giveaways at all. Let's just assume that either we're new Amazon marketers and we can't afford them, or we just don't want to run discounts or giveaways, for whatever reason. Let's just, axe those. We're not going to bother with those. Let's also assume that no friends or family members review the product. Let's assume no fake reviews, no review groups. Let's also assume no promo codes. In case your feedback is below 3.5 stars, some people don't know this, but if your feedback is below 3.5 stars on Amazon, you actually won't be able to run promotions at all. So newer sellers who haven't gotten their first feedback yet are out of luck there. So let's assume no promo codes. We're going to assume no discounts again, although that may not be a bad idea for launching. Let's also assume that there are no existing email lists, because not everybody has one of those. And let's also assume no Facebook launch or running external ads to Amazon, because that requires a website. You should use two-step URLs with that, and it's just a really involved process. So let's just assume that this is strictly PPC. This launch strategy is going to be only PPC. So let's just hop right into it. So before launching any campaigns for your new product, it's important to make sure Amazon understands what your listing actually is. This is way too overlooked in the Amazon community. Basically, Amazon understanding what your listing is a process called indexing. Which is basically Amazon's system scraping, which is basically scanning through and saving three different parts of your listing, and it's looking for keywords. So the three parts of your listing that get indexed are your title, your bullets, and your back-end keywords. It's absolutely essential that you include the most relevant and high traffic keywords possible in those areas. The best place to find those keywords to add into your title, your bullets, and your backend keywords is from reverse ASIN lookup tools, which are essentially tools that scrape other listings on Amazon for their keywords. So you can do this for all of the top listings in your category and also the top competitors in your niche. Just take all of their keywords, but make sure you leave behind anything that's branded. because that's basically grounds for a TOS violation if you include those. So definitely don't do anything branded. Be really careful with it. But this is step one. It's super important to make sure your listing is keyword rich. And once your listing is keyword rich, it's time to launch some PPC campaigns. So what I usually recommend is starting off with an auto first whenever you're going to launch a new product. You're going to run this for, I suggest 2 to 3 weeks or so. Budget really depends on the business. It's kind of a business decision. Mike definitely has had an episode about this and kind of talks about, what's the right budget. And what he says, and I agree with him, is that there's no real correct budget. It's more of a business decision. But if you're completely lost and confused and you're a new Amazon marketer, you don't know what to budget, just start off with $30 to $50 a day as your budget. And then for your bid, start at the top of the suggested bid range. You may be asking why so aggressive, starting at the top of the suggested bid range. The idea there is that you need to counterbalance ad quality scores. Basically, on Amazon, it's not about who the highest bidder is, but it's also about who's most likely to convert, because Amazon makes 15% of every single sale. So Amazon doesn't just want the highest bidder, but they also want the person who's most likely to convert. So they kind of, come up with this algorithm that's lacks transparency, and we're all kind of just guessing at. But it definitely, ad quality score definitely includes things like your indexation for certain keywords, your relevance for certain keywords, your sales velocity, your conversion rate, different metrics like revenue per click. All sorts of things go into this ad quality score. So it's kind of a balance between that ad quality score itself and your bid to come up with this total score to decide who appears for an impression or whose ad is displayed on Amazon. So I know that was a bit of a mouthful, but the whole idea here is whenever you create a new campaign or you add new keywords, your ad quality score for those new campaigns or keywords is going to be really low, just because there's not much historical data behind it. The conversion rate data is weak, the RPC data is weak, and you really need to build up those ad quality scores over time. Until you're able to build those ad quality scores up over time, you should definitely counterbalance it with a higher bid, which is why for your first auto campaign here when launching a new product, I suggest going with the top of the suggested bid range and just being more aggressive so we don't run into any visibility issues. If your product, by the way, if your new product has variations, let's say color variations, for example, it's a good idea to keep these in the same campaign, but segment them by ad group. So you'd have one ad group with the green version. You'd have one ad group with a red version, and you'd have one ad group with a blue version, etc. Just as an example. So this will basically allow the different ad groups to collect color-specific keywords and other keywords specific to that unique variation. So go ahead and launch that auto campaign with that sort of structure if you have variations. If you don't worry about that. Just one auto campaign and put your one variation in an ad group. And then, this is a good start. But I think we need to add some additional campaigns here if we really want to have a successful and aggressive launch. So once that auto campaign is all set up and you have a good idea about how you're going to structure things, go ahead and launch that. And then now that the auto campaign will be live for you, it may be a good idea to work on some additional exposure and research, like I said. So we're basically going to create a couple manual campaigns. From that same reverse ASIN tool, the reverse ASIN lookup tool that you used basically to scrape other listings and to make sure that your own listing is keyword rich, you should have a decent list of keywords from there. So from the keywords in that list, you need to do some additional research to understand which keywords you'd really like to rank for. Maybe this is something you already have a good idea about, something you already have in mind, but I would recommend putting together a list of the keywords you would like to rank for. Then look at those keywords on Amazon. Look them up on Amazon. Do some additional research and try to get an estimate of how many units the top products are selling, for that keyword. So, for example, if the keyword is dog bed, just type in dog bed. Look at the top 3 products. Don't look at the ad results. Make sure you're looking at the top 3 organic products, and basically try to figure out how many they're selling per day, on a consistent basis. So take an average and look at this over, over a course of several days to several weeks. Just really track these and keep an eye on them. Basically sales velocity is the biggest and most important factor when it comes to organic ranking, getting to page one and staying there. So you need to basically outsell those top products for the keyword that you want to rank for. And you need to do it consistently for at least a week, sometimes longer, depending on the saturation and the competition level of your niche. So once you have those keywords you really want to target, remember, we're already casting a really wide net with our auto campaign. This is just additional focus for the keywords we want to rank for faster. So once you have those keywords that you really want to target, start a new manual campaign as well. And in this manual campaign, I'd recommend starting with two kinds of ad groups. These ad groups will have the same keywords from the list you put together, but they'll use different match types. So go ahead and create one ad group with all of your reverse ASIN tool keywords that you ended up really wanting to rank for, and then add one ad group in all of those keywords as phrase match, and then add another ad group and add all of the keywords as broad match. So you're going to have, at this point, you're going to have your auto campaign, and then you're going to have a manual campaign. And in the manual campaign, you'll have two ad groups, a phrase match ad group and a broad match ad group with your reverse ASIN tool lookup keywords. Now, I would recommend launching some product targeting as well. What this is going to do is basically display your ads on other ASINs. The easiest way to do this is to launch a category targeting ad group. I recommend using the refine feature, and then refining to only appear for products with between 0 and 3 stars. If you want to be really fancy with this, what you can do is you can basically scan through tons of ASINs in your category manually on Amazon and just try to find ones that will be a good fit. So what does good fit mean? Product targeting is pretty much trying to steal customers from other listings. So you want to find other listings that your ad is likely to be clicked from. So think about some variables that could apply here. If a product in your category is maybe more expensive than yours, with worse review ratings or fewer reviews, or maybe it's just a worse product in general and the branding is worse, then it may be a good idea to add that individual ASIN to a list and target that with product targeting. So if you'd like, manually go through Amazon, create a list, take that list, and then create another ad group within the product targeting campaign. That'll leave you with two ad groups in that third campaign that we just launched. That will have a category targeting ad group. Hopefully you're refining or playing around with refining and testing that. And then it will leave you with an ASIN ad group. And we can basically continue to build onto this later in the future. But again, this is just setting up for launch. And this is just focusing on the 2 to 3 week period after your product lands into Amazon for us to basically rank you as quickly and as aggressively as possible and to keep you there. So at this point, you're going to have all three of those campaigns. Just a review, you'll have the auto campaign, you'll have a manual campaign, and that's going to have an ad group for phrase match keywords and an ad group for broad match keywords. And then the third campaign will be a manual campaign, and that's going to have two ad groups in it. The first ad group is going to be for category targeting, refined if you would like. And then the second ad group there is going to be for exact ASINs that you've looked through Amazon and scanned through yourself. So at this point, your launch will be blasting on all cylinders, basically. Even Elon Musk would be proud of your new proverbial PPC rocket ship. So there are just a few things to keep an eye out on top of this. And I basically just want to cover these quickly just to give you a better idea of what you should expect and just, really for the sake of clarity. So generally, whenever you start off, you are going to have a lack of reviews. Every other product in your category, probably apart from the other ones that are launching alongside you, are going to have more reviews than you are. So it's definitely, a tricky thing to kind of address. So, whenever you don't have any reviews or only a couple reviews so far, you're lacking social proof on your listing, and that is extremely important for Amazon customers. In fact, the average Amazon customer needs to see 15 reviews before they even take your listing seriously at all. So again, this is extremely important when it comes to your conversion rate, and something that you should expect to be a little bit of a pain point in your Amazon journey, at least in the beginning. Another thing that you should definitely look out for and be prepared for is an inflated ACoS in the beginning whenever you are running these campaigns. These campaigns should not be profitable 95% of the time unless your product is just insanely good in terms of product market fit. So basically, this is a learning phase because there's our auto campaigns. These are research campaigns that are basically trying to bring in a whole bunch of traffic. You're also going to have 2 manual ad groups for your keyword campaign. And in those, you have phrase match keywords and broad match keywords. Both of those match types are also for research purposes. So it's for expansion. It's bringing in lots and lots of traffic. Some of that is going to be relevant to your product and will convert well. A lot of it is not going to be relevant traffic to your product and is not going to convert well. So if you do see an ACoS spike, at least in the beginning, do not panic. I believe for the first 2 to 3 weeks that about 95% of people who try this are going to end up with a really high ACoS, and that's okay because, again, we're only running these for the first couple of weeks, and at that point, we can use the RPSB strategy like we normally do and like we talk about normally on the podcast to hone in on the exact search terms that have converted. And we can create exact match keywords out of those in the future. And then we can also take all of the converting ASINs that we have and turn those into product targeting as well. So this is just for the launch. This is just to aggressively rank for the keywords that we want to. And this is the best strategy to do it, I believe. So that's it for this episode, guys. I hope it was helpful. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything I discussed in this episode, or anything Amazon PPC related in general, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are always available at adbadger.com. We're happy to help, totally free. We really do appreciate each and every one of you listening to this podcast. It does mean the world to us, and keep an eye out for next week's episode. That'll be dropping soon. See you guys next time.